Okay, light some candles, pour yourself a hot bath. Your time is now. Welcome to the ATM podcast with me, Jim Jefferies, and Amos Gill. How you doing, Gilly? Your headphones aren't plugged in. I just saw you just drag that cord across there. We've been sitting here for 10 minutes shooting the shit before we started. You didn't have your fucking headphones in. Forrest would have had his headphones ready to go. And he would have told me off now. Yeah, you're talking for too long.
Let's shout out Forrest's new podcast about addiction.
Yeah, it's a good one. Forrest podcast about addiction is a really good podcast.
Are you going to go on there?
You know me, I don't like talking about myself. So, look, I probably will. Yeah, I
get
probably
on there.
will. Probably
Talk
will.
about that.
But I also think that...
How long are you sober now? How long is this?
4 years.
4 years?
Yeah.
That's long enough to be like, I've got some... you've committed?
I've got some mileage under me. Yeah, I don't, but
because no one wants to hear from the guy that's sober and 6 months.
I think I have some things about my sobriety that people don't want to hear on a sobriety podcast, and it's this one. I don't miss it, and I don't think I'll go back to it. People want to hear every day's a struggle, and some days are easier than others, but you just have to keep on going. I'm not going to drink today. No, I don't miss it. My life is better without it. And I enjoy weed, so we're all good. And I know that now there's people freaking out, then you're not sober. Everything's absolute with people.
Yeah, I'm not looking for purity.
I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't do hard drugs. The end. That's all you're getting out of me. If weed leads to dementia, bring it on.
Listen, there has been some talk about your memory.
Yeah, gone. Gone. Used to be one of the best.
But for Jack over here, your assistant, your life collapses.
Oh, yes.
You've hard-drived everything that you need to do into his head.
Yeah.
You don't know where anything is. I had people call me the other day and go, what's going on with Jim's tour dates? Can you call him to see if he's... Okay, he doesn't know we have a podcast today. He has to be herded by Jack.
If people want to know where I'm going to be, you know what I do? I check my webpage.
Check your own
just
website.
Just like you. People in front of me go, where are you going to be on Saturday? And I go, jimjeffries.com.
We could probably...
Mind you, I will be in Vegas this weekend at the Palazzo. That's worth going. Is that how I pronounce it? Palazzo. Palazzo. It's a new place. It's a new thing. We got tickets. We're there Friday. We're there Saturday. I'm very excited. New theatre.
Yeah, because
I was at the same theatre for 10 years.
Yeah, the other one got torn down, and that's going to be the Hard Rock now. But until then, it's the Palazzo.
But I think I'm digging the new theatre. I'm very excited about it.
Hey, about the sobriety.
Yeah.
Are you doing any? You don't do any meetings or anything like that.
I did do meetings, and I knocked them on. What happened to me was I was doing meetings, and I started off.
I don't want to take Forrest's upcoming episode away from him.
I started off in COVID doing meetings, but it was with comedians and real nice people.
Where is this?
This was online. These ones. This is during COVID.
Did Zoom meetings.
Yeah, Zoom, and I was doing them every day. And the problem I had was that, and I won't name any names, but a lot of the comedians...
Testing material.
Some of them, I don't even know if they were alcoholics. I think they were just trying to network. Yeah. And then there was other ones that shared. There was one guy that used to share for 20 minutes at a fucking time, right? The meetings would go for 3 hours. No, and that's your day. That's your day done. The meetings would go for 3 hours, and there'd be... One guy would share for 20 minutes every time, and he would be like, I've been sober now for 30 years. And I'm like, all right, the longer you've been sober, the less sharing. The less sharing. I like
that's called sharing when that's the last thing they ever do is share.
Yeah, I want to hear about the guy who just got the DUI, the wife's just left him, he's got a black eye and he doesn't know where it happened.
Yeah.
Right? That cunt. Share away, my friend.
The reverse pyramid like that.
Yes.
Because they've got all the interesting stories. The other guy is just building, just checking in again. Still nothing.
Yeah, every day's a struggle. I walked past the bar the other day, and I did. I thought to myself, maybe I should go in.
Well, that's because you are associated with drinking, but you're not a guy that's like, oh, I've had a long day at the office. I like a glass of red. Or the way that I'm like a Carlton draft in a pub on a hot day as the footy's starting, that first 3 sips is orgasmic to me. But to you, it was always about getting drunk. You're not actually a booze lover.
I miss a Guinness, and I do non-alcoholic Guinness, and I miss having a pint at a sporting event. These are the times that I miss alcohol, right? But I drank to get drunk. And the symptoms of being drunk the next day, the hangovers and stuff, got far too much. And I was looking just beaten up. And I'm happier without it. That's the end of that. I don't, but I always have like a thing that I'm doing all the time. Like now at the moment, sports cards. I've gone crazy into sports cards or whatever. I've always got something that I'm focusing in on. Maybe I should do that with stand-up. Who knows? What's happening at this moment, Amos Gill?
Well, given that I've started this podcast by like interviewing you, I thought I'd talk about the most awkward interview of the week, which was football legend Bill Belichick. You're not an NFL guy, but Bill's
I know about
the guy.
Belichick. I listen to sports radio. And now that I'm in the movie Him that's coming out, which is about the NFL, I'm a big football guy. Love American football.
Well, Bill Belichick sat down with CBS and did an interview, and it was meant to be about his autobiography, talking about his football career.
And he's got a hot-ass girlfriend.
And he's got this, like, hot, young thing. And Bill's, like, in his 70s.
Yeah, okay? I can't go younger now in my 40s if I go too. My wife's as young as I can go. That's 13 years difference. That's as young as I could date.
13 years?
13 years younger than me is as young as I could go.
What, so if you guys get divorced... what about anything over 30?
Yeah, anything over 30. Yeah. I couldn't go back in.
But does that change at 70?
I couldn't date in the 20s. I couldn't date in the 20s. I couldn't hear that there's a new spot about that I have to visit or something.
I think it's more... There's a lot of... you get a lot of grief for these older guys that date girls in the 20s. I think it's better to date a girl pointlessly like that as an old rich guy in their 20s and their 30s, because in their 20s it's their fun period. In their 30s you're actually stealing from them the period of time where they're meant to be potentially having kids and getting serious. So if you're just fucking around like Leo, it probably makes more sense to do it in the 20s. If you're not committing to a marriage,
and also
use them in the period where they're having fun. They actually don't lose any.
And also women of that generation have got the HPV vaccine. So that's, I can't hurt them.
I didn't take that vax.
Didn't you?
I don't know. I don't remember the last vax.
I'm not. You know how like I'm writing my biography at the moment. I'm thinking of like warts and all biography, right? I'm thinking of just calling my biography warts. I really am.
Yeah,
Jim Jeffrey warts. It's not a bad title. Yeah.
What would be in the all?
No, there's nothing. There's no and all.
No one cares about the all.
The warts is my all.
People come for the warts. Not one person. They flick through all. They go, yeah, whatever.
Yeah. What?
All is PR. Yeah, warts is a story.
All is like, and I had a good show and I made a friend. I met me wife and no.
Dude, I got sober.
Bit where his dick fell off. Yeah,
I got sober. That counts as all. We want the warts rolling around like a pig. Blood coming out of your arsehole in a cheap hotel because of your hemorrhoid is inflamed from the booze you've drank.
No one wants to hear the bit in the biography where my mother took me to musicals and I enjoyed it. You want to hear about the buckle end of the belt being ripped into you. That's the warts bit.
Yeah. But in the end, I think she still loved me. Boring.
That line's in there.
It is? In her own way. How many times did you say in her own way?
I was led to believe.
Everyone shows love in strange ways.
I liken my mum in the book at the moment to Joe Jackson from the Jackson 5 or King Richard. I think a lot of my success is owed to my mother's firm parenting.
Yeah, of course.
But I resent a lot of it. So it's a difficult thing to tread. I'm nervous about family members reading it and stuff like that. Yeah, of course, it's a very difficult thing to
But they've seen the stand-up, which is probably more
thing.
brutal. But for some reason, seeing it in writing makes it like a legal document or something.
Exactly. So if I do the stand-up, then there's some plausible deniability from everybody, right? But if I put it in print, then here's the warts.
That's all wart.
It's all warts.
Yeah.
She was a big wart that sat in a chair.
It must be an interesting process writing it because you actually sit down. I don't do therapy, and I don't think you've ever really done therapy. It's not an Australian thing.
I do therapy.
I'm not a believer. Yeah. That's why I'm mentally ill. But
we might get better help as a sponsor, so you better change your opinion on that, my friend.
Well, if BetterHelp wishes to help me, I've got my own version. It's just called Help.
Yeah,
it's not BetterHelp. It's just random people on the internet that give you advice.
I know. I've benefited out of therapy, but I've had some tragedies.
But you talk about your childhood, and, and people like to. That's why siblings are the greatest therapists to me, because they've actually been there in the room and they can go, "No, you're crazy," or they'll look at you and go, "Dude, Mum was out of her fucking mind." That's why. I can't imagine not having siblings.
Me and my brother Scott were playing Call of Duty the other day, and we broke down Mum just like every event. And there was shit that I had forgotten that I was like, oh my god, Oh my God. She was a fucking pain in the ass, my mother.
Well, I've got this experience right now when I go home. My mum's had kids again.
Yeah.
And so I've got 10-year-old siblings, and I'm now watching her parent 2 kids, and I can actually watch in real time where my damage was done. Because I see the way she...
Do you think she's following the same steps with them, or do you think she's mellowed as
no,
she's
she's
gotten
worse,
older, or she's gotten
probably,
worse?
because,
gotten worse?
well, I think she is both more mellow, but also she's older and less patience, you know. So, 1, her patience is down, but 2, her energy is less, which is an interesting mix because with them, like, I'll see her temper, which Eastern Europeans are famous for having, and there's a lot of screaming at people about cleanliness, which is, and then immediately being like, I'll give you something to fucking cry about.
Oh, yeah, a lot of that.
And I'm sitting in the room.
My mother used to say to me, she used to go, no one at school likes you, you can't make friends. Now whether that's like, my mother was a school teacher at my school.
So she had a lot of first-hand experience on that.
Yeah, a person with no friends would tell me that I can't make friends because of my unlikable personality.
Mum's big one for us was, if you keep acting like that, you'll be alone, and no one loves a dumb, stinky boy. You stink, grubby teeth, smell, yucky socks, and you know what? You'll be an ugly, hairy wog that's not liked.
And look at you now. You're liked.
I've been taking care of the hair.
You're liked.
I still shave that monobrow.
You're an ugly, hairy, whatever.
No, but then I jump in occasionally like this. Leave him alone.
Oh, yeah.
And Mum's like, whoa, I'm trying to discipline them. I'm like, you're doing it too much. They're going to be upset about that in the future. Well, because I can see it.
This is the thing. So you went through a different generation of parent. I went through a different generation of parent. In my generation of parent could hit you in public.
Yeah.
Socially acceptable to slap you inside a shopping centre.
Whereas my generation was, you were allowed to threaten it's going to happen when you get home, and now you're not even allowed to make the threat.
Well, now you can't even say anything in public, right? But my like people used to go, oh, geez, he's getting it. I remember being slapped across the face in an aisle and hitting the breakfast cereal and breakfast cereal pouring down on top of me. Like all the boxes falling off the shelves because I got whacked so hard into the thing. In front of people. Like other people pushing carts.
Oh, and people were, do you remember them being like,
no one did.
Been a naughty boy?
No one did anything. Yeah. No one did shit.
Well, my mum, because she's English second language, hers was like, she would say things like this, right? Be like at soccer, and I would have a bad game or something, and I'd talk. I go, can Michael come over? No, we're going home. I go, come on. She goes, be quiet, you pig dog cunt. Right? And I remember parents at this school being like, oh no, like that pig dog cunt.
Yeah.
And even I'm thinking like, you've got to give it to her. That's heavy.
You big dog
You
cunt.
big dog cunt. And she used to do this thing with her teeth. And she'd say, you'll get it. I used to get kicked out of the car a lot.
You know,
I had to walk.
Trots is listening to this. I have the privilege of my mother being dead. She doesn't have to hear this. So I
got a very complicated thing with my mum.
You're in trouble, you hairy, wog, pig dog cunt.
Mum's very aggro person. But I also, and we have spoken about this before, I have always...
I like that the podcast called At This Moment and we're regressing to our childhoods.
Okay, no, but it explains why we are at this moment.
We've always bonded on this.
Is ultimately, without my mum being brutal, I would have... well, I'm already a mediocrity, but God knows what it could have been. Because she did demand you to get a lot better. She hated your failings. She hated you being lazy. Yeah. That was the immigrant mentality of like, we came over to this country for a better life. Your grandfather works his ass off. You know, you're going to a good school that we can't afford. My mum used to, I remember, I think it was Chappelle.
My mum used to tell me that everyone was laughing at me. She gave me the confidence to become a comedian.
Remember Chappelle did that bit about how parents shouldn't tell you about the economic stress? You meant to keep that? Right. My mum would, I just remember her walking in with like final closure notices, which was mostly just her credit card debt.
Yeah.
And go, that's what your schooling costs me. And what did you get? What did you get today in maths? 6 out of 10. Oh, and I'd go, but you just bought a handbag. That's got nothing to do with my schooling.
I let my children know that school is expensive.
Yeah.
I don't make them feel guilty about it, but I think they should know that school isn't cheap. And you're very privileged to go to a private school and all that type of stuff. I have a bit of working class about that, yeah. But I've never made them feel guilty about it.
But that's why I finished. Never made them feel
guilty, not once.
That's why I did try hard to get a good TR at school and finish a law degree was like when you have immigrant parents and you have seen like my mum's financial stress putting us through school, which I respected. I fucking finished it off. Can I tell you something about this? This has always made me. This is my mum's best line. Okay, which was the tumult of our youth. We had like 15 homes growing up. We would always move.
Oh, no wonder you were so poor.
No, I was in like 15 different places.
Oh, yes.
Like we would live in, I remember living in a motel, then Mum would have different boyfriends. And so we'd go house to house to house, and then the relationships would break down. Then you go to a different rental, then another rental, all right. So I just remember the chaos of always moving, which is why I think I like comedy. You just have a suitcase and you just go to the next place. I never really had like a family home. And we always had this looming bankruptcy going around us, right? That's how my mum would live. And she'd say, it's all fake. Money's all fake. Debt's fake. They'll never throw you in prison. And she said this one line, they can repossess the TV or the couch, but they'll never repossess your private education, right? And I remember constantly being terrified at like grade 7 that Amex was going to come and beat me to death.
There was going to be a repo man that was going to back up a truck.
No, the 2 goons would come and hit me in the head and be like, you don't deserve them brains your mum bought.
Yeah, no, they're going to repossess your blazer and take it away. No time for you. Off to the public system. Off you go.
They just give me so much CTE. They give me a test. They're like, okay.
Yeah.
It's gone.
My mother's big line was, we live below the poverty line.
Oh, yeah?
That was like a thing in Australia.
Which line?
1 in 10 Australians live underneath the poverty line.
Not the global poverty line.
No, the Australian poverty line. We didn't have a pool.
We're limited to 1 Tim Tam per sitting.
My mother had a huge doll collection and we didn't have a pool. That's what was going on.
Well, I mean, we could go beyond. Let's talk about Bill. I don't know how we got lost on
Bill Belichick. They were saying we couldn't go young, and then we went back to our lives.
That's insane.
Okay, yeah. So he's dating a young bird, right? I don't. Okay,
let me play the audio. Okay,
let's have a look. Put a picture of them both up there so that people can actually see.
Up. But you've got to hear the audio of this. So he's asked about the book, and he's wearing some tattered shirt. I don't know what that was all about. It almost looks like maybe on the way in they'd been fucking and she.
This is like from listening to sports radio. This is what I know about Bill Belichick. Oh, they had to figure out a different defense to get to him, and either Brady's nothing without him, or he was nothing without Brady.
But also, he was notorious for like one word, very stoic, gave nothing to the media.
Yeah.
You know, his attitude was kind of like, I don't want to fucking do this, I'm forced to. And now he's on this sort of press junket and he's doing Instagram posts with his hot new girlfriend. And it's kind of sad to see that, which happens to all men when they get a hot piece of ass.
The problem is you don't...
Matching pajamas at Christmas.
It's probably very nice to have sex with them and it's nice to hang out with them and learn about new things and all that type of stuff. And also, you know what, about having a younger wife or something like that? It's just nice to have someone who smiles at you, right? So he's probably enjoying someone just being happy and a bit bouncy in the house. But you know what you don't do? Don't get photographed next to them.
Yeah.
Nothing makes you look older than a young woman.
Well, listen to this.
There we go. Bloody, she's a nice looking girl.
They've got an opinion about your private life. It's got nothing to do with them, but they're invested in it. How do you deal with that?
Never been too worried about what everybody else thinks. Just try to do what I feel like is best for me and what's right.
How did you guys meet?
Not talking about this.
No?
No.
It's a topic
SugarDaddy.com.
is comfortable commenting on.
Everybody in the world seems to be following it.
Like 100%, it was some sugar daddy type of site, which I'm not anti either. If both people are going a financial thing, and I like your company and all this type of stuff, and I'll pay your rent, and look, what does she do for a living?
I actually don't know what she does. I don't know much.
Hangs out with Bill Belichick,
but
man.
She's now sort of embedded with him everywhere he goes, even in the university program.
I'm going to tell you something about the gold diggers, right? They're bloody underrated people. People get into gold diggers, right? And Neil Brennan said this. He goes, there's not that many of them around. Neil Brennan said because he goes, I have some gold, right? Yes. And so I have some gold, and I had a few gold diggers sniff around, right, in the day, especially after I broke up with Hank's mother, right?
I've got a few copper panners around me.
Yeah, I had a few gold diggers come in and sniff around. But to be a really good gold digger, to get the gold...
You have to dig.
You have to be delightful. You have to be the most charming fucking... You can't give... If she gives Bill Belichick a fucking hard time or treats him like fucking shit, she'll know about it. So you'll be gone.
So you're saying you respect gold diggers who dig?
I'm just saying that...
A good gold digger is a miner.
If you are going to be...
I think that's what we agree with.
No, a legal minor. Right, a legal one, not illegal. Not illegal.
Digging.
Yeah.
But younger than you, but not
Yeah. We get what we're saying. Of age.
of age with a shovel.
Yes. So, but if you're a person who comes in and you're going to get your rent paid, you this, you have to fucking bounce on that cock like no one's business and be a delight. Be a delight.
Do you think?
So I'm all for a real good gold digger, A-list gold digger. They're doing a good job.
Well, it's funny because people will write in the comments here. Most people, oh God, she's after your money, and it's so sad to see this happen. It's like, you think this guy doesn't have enough wherewithal as a tactician of sports to know, I think she gets stuff out of this. I just want to be fucked.
Like Larry David did a thing where he talked about dating younger women, and he's like, I know I'm a schmuck. Now I'm a schmuck with money. Right?
There's many ways to be a schmuck.
Yeah. And also, let's not underestimate when you say someone's a trophy wife or a trophy whatever. It's like my wife is better looking than me. My wife is younger than me. But I'm the fucking trophy, man. I'm solid ass dude. I'm about to have 6 Netflix specials. Who doesn't want to hang out with that guy?
What a lovely Valentine's Day message you have for every day. You're like, I've just been polishing myself up there, love, as your trophy.
Yeah, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, the idea is so demeaning to say that my wife is a trophy wife, that she doesn't get anything out of me. Bill Belichick is probably a very smart, interesting fucking fella.
Well, that's another one, is I said this to you earlier today. For the most part, when they go, how can a woman be attracted to that guy? Men are ugly.
Yes.
Now, there's some that are very beautiful. And that is
Dangerously slow.
How many percent of people are like beautiful? Of men, not fucking many. Most after 30, we are grotesque, flabby, hairy creatures of smell.
The best way.
That's my mum coming through there again.
Is to sit at the airport and just watch people walk by. Every walks of life going by, right? Mostly not people in their 80s and stuff because they don't fly as much. So mostly people of age, and just think how many people are fuckable and how many people aren't, and the fuckable amount is very low. Very low.
Oh, okay, that's what I mean. So most people are not that fuckable anyway.
Yeah.
So then when you go, why is this young girl, it's like being attracted to the college professor. Why is she fucking that 7-year-old multiple author or business tycoon? Because he's probably got something about him. Like, it's not just money, it's gravitas, power, brains. Most people are shit in bed.
Sometimes I watch like The Bachelor. And this guy's really good looking, and they're going on vacations, and they're hot air ballooning, and they're all falling in love. And then you go, this cunt's a day trader, right? Which means he's just shifting money around in an account, trying to get a little edge each day, right? And lives in a studio apartment, and it's like, she'd probably be happier with an older bloke that has got his shit together.
Oh, and then till death do us part really is not that hard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, you get married as a man now at 60, you're like, I got 20 years, max.
Mate, if I ever got married again, which I won't, I can see this one out. I'm good to go.
I'll tell you what, this is a tough episode for the wife.
Okay, but Jack, get us up Don McLean and his girlfriend, right? Don McLean, his girlfriend, because she travels everywhere with him. You can't say that Don McLean. Now, we all know Don McLean from American Pie, and one of my favourite songs, Vincent. I love Vincent.
Sure.
Vincent's a song that
I don't know much of Don other than...
You know Vincent, though.
Maybe. I don't
Starry,
think so.
starry night, paint your colours. No. About Vincent van Gogh, right? Starry Night, right?
Sure.
Lovely. It talks about suicide and all that type of stuff. It's a very deep song.
Windows down on the 405, suicide, I get it.
Yeah, and so Don McLean, who had 2 hits, and if you were into him, there's probably a whole heap of other songs that he now has I want to say wife, but it might be girlfriend, who he's been dating for about 6 or 7 years. They've been together for a while now.
I'm getting a pic.
And she is bizarrely young for him, and he's even uglier than Belichick, I think. Did you get a picture for us, Jack?
I got a picture up here. Yeah. I mean... Yeah, she's young.
Right. But the cunt also, he sings songs and he's on stage playing 31. Okay, 31. And he's 70-something? There we go. Yeah. There we go. So he looks worse than Belichick. You got to say that he looks worse. Like...
He's definitely worse than Belichick, and that's what I mean. How old's this guy? I don't know. He's like 80 or whatever.
And also, when you've got the younger wife, try to stand up next to him in the photo. Don't be so like... 79, right? 5'10". And he's 5'10". Well, he's just sitting down next to her, and she's up there. And now
It's got to be unpleasant to get fucked by 90% of men. So you might as well be a guy with a nice voice.
exactly, he can still sing a
In a
song.
good
He
bed.
can still write her a fucking song. It's not like all 80-year-olds. These are impressive men. They're impressive men. What I'm saying is, when I'm 80, and if my wife has tragically passed away,
I like the ground that you're laying here. Anyway,
I'm going 30.
I guess it's time for us to move to the next story. Jeffrey Epstein victim Virginia Giuffre is dead from suicide.
Yeah, this is a tough one. Okay. First of all, I've dealt with suicide in my life. There is no harder death on earth than suicide. There is no harder death to deal with. There's no cancer. There is no car accident. There is no drug overdose that is harder to deal with than someone taking their own life. It devastates the people around them. So I want to be very sensitive when I talk about this. And I know what you're about to say. We think that this may be bullshit. This may be because I believe Jeffrey Epstein was bumped off in the prison. There was he was on suicide watch for fuck's sake, right? And there's no footage of it. There's no witnesses. There's no get the fuck out of here. The guy was about to name names. He was bumped off. Now, do I think Prince Andrew or a consortium of men who went over there? Name your bloke. Whether it be Bill Clinton, whether it be Donald Trump, whether it be there's a lot of people went over this thing. Do I think that this girl could have been bumped off? Absolutely. Do I also think that she's probably been hounded online, and as someone who's had bad times online, it's not fun and it can wear you down. But she was so close to the end. She was so close to seeing what's going to happen with this story.
Well, I think nothing is happening with the story. I mean, we've got people in the Justice Department who use the populist position coming in through the Trump administration, the Pam Bondis, the Kash Patels, which was like, we want full transparency. Hey, who went? We know that Ghislaine Maxwell was a human trafficker with Jeffrey Epstein.
She's been arrested. She's in prison.
Who were the clients?
Yeah.
And there was hundreds. We don't know one. So very clearly, there's going to be no veracity on this. And Virginia Giuffre, who, if people don't know, she's really like the only personal
She
witness
was the one
that's
that was
come out.
photographed with
She's the one that said that
with Andrew,
with Prince Andrew, that he was drenched in sweat, and his defense was he can't sweat because of the Falklands. And so
get the Falklands out of here.
Listen, either two things are true. Because one, I actually posted immediately when I saw this. Oh yes, pull the other leg, basically.
No,
she's dead from suicide.
What did you post? You post, they can't be serious or something.
I said they're not even trying anymore.
Oh, they're not even trying anymore.
Okay, because let's lay out the timeline of what had happened here.
But also, as I said, I want to be sensitive to her family because her family have said that it has been a real suicide. Her family members are coming, but who knows who's pushing them and who knows what they truly know either. I
think it might just be a suicide. But let's just lay this out because I think this is interesting. So Virginia Giuffre, prominent survivor who accused Jeffrey Epstein of abuse, has passed away, only 41 years of age, from suicide. However, remember last week, hit by a bus.
Who was hit by a bus last week?
This woman, Virginia Giuffre.
She was hit by a bus
last week?
Yeah,
you didn't see this. See, she's been in the news lately. Last week she was hit by a bus and she posted this picture of herself with a big black eye. And she said, I have a matter of days left to live from my injuries sustained. Then a report came out that said it wasn't a serious crash. Okay? And that maybe she'd done makeup of her injuries. This is what people are saying.
Oh, so you're saying that she wanted to die from the bus crash and then commit suicide and not upset family?
I don't know.
Because maybe she wanted out. Maybe she wanted out and she wanted that to be the ruse not to upset.
So I've posted that. I have some friends who are like-minded with me. And one of them is a lawyer from WA, which is where she lives. And I thought he would immediately be like, dude, we got to look into this.
I know.
The security status.
He's a good dude.
Good dude.
Yeah, good dude.
He's a lawyer from Western Australia. He said, nah, man, I think he goes, I know we want to believe in, that there's a grand play. He goes, she's been battling a restraining order with her. She just got divorced from her husband and she's been denied access to her kids of late. And so she's obviously not well mentally. And so he was like, she's a victim here because obviously she's been a victim of human trafficking, and then she's come out and she's been the public face of fighting against these powerful entities like an Andrew, like an Epstein, and then all the online abuse she's copped over the years. That eventually that does just weigh you down, and it doesn't have to be a conspiracy that you would sometimes just succumb to mental health, and that's horrible, right? So there's either that or someone has bumped her off because we've got a new administration in who is making a lot of noise about putting people in prison for the Epstein files, which hasn't happened. And now, guess what? The last witness is dead. So it's like, what can we do?
So what do you think happens now with the Epstein files?
I don't know, man. I think it's interesting. The Trump administration, for that entire group of people that was looking for, JFK files and looking for the deep state and let's find out what the CIA's been up to. They've made no arrests. Trump just goes, oh yeah, Pam Bondi, the AG, is working on it. And it's just sort of been swept under the rug. And I think, speaking of the rug, it's been pulled out from underneath a lot of conspiracy theorist people who thought there was going to be some clarity, and there isn't. It just continues, and the next administration is the new power, and there'll be nothing done about anything because it's all one big club.
So do you think that Trump, right, is tanking the economy and doing all these things to cover up as a distraction?
I don't think so. I think there's broader things at play there.
I was watching a thing about approval ratings. He's got the lowest approval ratings.
100 days it's been.
100 days, yeah. Lowest approval rating since Nixon. His approval rating's under 40. For a guy who won by a landslide, that means that a lot of people who voted for him are disappointed. How do you think, Amos Gill, famous Trump supporter, how do you think...
I'm not sure if I'd call myself a famous Trump supporter. I
Okay,
consider myself to be a struggling Trump supporter.
Sorry, unfamous Trump supporter.
An open mic supporter of the administration.
Mid-sized club Trump supporter.
Thank you. I am moving to Zanies, coming soon to Chicago and to Nashville. That's not a bad club.
Yeah, no, very good club. Very good club.
Well, I think it's interesting. He's run on this idea of breaking down a lot of what is the established order, and then he does it, and then people are like, "Whoa, it's chaos!" And it's like, what did you think was going to happen? I think people just didn't realize. I mean, it's not like Donald Trump is one of the first politicians ever that gets less popular for doing what he said he was going to do.
Yeah, but there's a lot of things he said he was going to do that he didn't do, and then he did
there
the
things.
There is that too. I will end the war in the Ukraine in one day. It'll take me one day, he said.
Yeah, well, that was always going to be... That's a puff.
Yeah.
But he's done one... Listen, if there's one thing to be true, there's a lot of that I don't obviously like, okay?
You love a tariff.
I think that there's one thing that's true is whatever...
You have to see Amos because he's from Australia. It costs 20% more now to see him.
Yeah,
I've got citizenship. I'm still an American ticket. Amos, 20% more to see Amos.
Still only $5. I mean, my tickets are papered.
Yeah, that's a $6 ticket now.
I think at the end of the day, if there's one thing that he did, if it's to be true, and I did read it in all the legitimate newspapers, was supposedly he and Tulsi Gabbard stopped bombing the bombing campaign of Iran because I don't know if you feel the oeuvre in the air right now. They do want a war, whatever the security state is. They want that final piece of the puzzle, which is Iran. They want that, and they want us involved over there. And as an Australian who saw our country, and we're going to get to the Australian election in a second, we didn't want to get pulled into Iraq. I certainly don't want us spending the next decade fighting the fallout of Iran, the terrorism that will be a result of that. Our standing in the world goes down, the death. I mean, it's going to be horrendous.
No, you don't.
Iraq was we don't want it again. And they clearly continue to push for this. It's been their mission for like 30 years, or basically since the end of the Shah. I'm not for that. I don't think Donald Trump's for that. You need to keep, and if you're a conservative person who voted for Trump, if the only good thing you can get out of this administration is no new wars, then blessed be that, because there's going to be a lot of other dog shit. But for a lot of my friends, all they wanted was, and many of them are people from the military, who were like, I've seen what this does. I just watched that movie, Warfare. I don't know if you've seen it yet. Watch that. I was literally sitting in the theater watching this group of young lads get their legs blown off. And you just think, whoever can stop us from doing that again is doing a good job. That's like the top of my hierarchy, is to not watch dudes my age with their guts spilled out for a war that means nothing to any of us over here.
How old do you think you are?
I'm 33.
Yeah, younger than you. You're going to do that. Blokes my age.
What's the cutoff?
What are you talking about?
There's dudes in their 30s that go there, isn't there?
Yeah, there's older blokes, but they're...
Just if anyone's looking, I got 2 bad knees, so I can't go.
Yeah, and shin splits.
And bone spurs as well, which I hear is really awful.
He's no good. He's no good. He's not war ready. I tell you what, though, I am outside of conscription age, right?
Yeah.
So even if America or Australia said, I'm too old, but my kids aren't. You know what I mean? So I'm conscious of that.
That's my biggest
conscious
fear.
that I have 2 sons that could be in conscription. And that could come back at any stage. It could just one day just come back.
But also, like, for my own growth, like of course I make I'm highly emotional.
Do you know that's why Mel Gibson moved to Australia when he was a kid?
What to?
Because his father saw what was going on in Vietnam and he thought they're about to do the thing. He grew up in America till he was about 4 or 5. And then him and his brother got moved to Australia because they didn't want conscription.
And we ended up having conscription, didn't we?
Well,
we had a draft of our own.
Yeah, but I'm just giving you the facts.
Yeah.
I don't know. Did we have conscription for Vietnam?
I think we had a draft, didn't we?
No, we didn't. Not for Vietnam, we didn't.
I was only 19.
No. We didn't for Vietnam.
Which is what that girl from Bill Belichick said.
We'll have to check that. We'll have to check that. Yeah. If there was, I know there was for World War I and II.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't think there was for Vietnam.
But what I was going to say, and speaking completely openly about it all, I feel very ideologically in flux at the moment. Because everyone I know, if you're being honest with yourself, you'd know that whatever the stasis is, whatever the regular, we can't go back again. Post-COVID, the the disparity of wealth is so high. There's chronically. Do
you think in the wash it was better that the Republicans won? In the wash, where do you think we'd be right now with the Democrats?
The same. I mean,
what? We wouldn't have tariffs.
No, but I'm saying
Belichick wouldn't be fucking a young chick.
Kamala Harris said that she was going to do nothing different.
The Democrats
than Joe Biden.
would have stopped that.
They would have passed the bill where you have to fuck within your age bracket.
They would have passed a bill for Bill. Bill Belichick.
And what I'm saying is, let me throw out a couple of channels that I think people I think are great.
Okay.
Is for me, I'm enjoying Yanis Varoufakis. I'm enjoying Gary's Economics, who's Gary's Economics, British trader who is like very left wing in Britain. Just sort of breaks down how you cannot right now say we need to go back to the way it was before. It wasn't working. There was rapid growth for the rich and the poor were getting poorer. And when those situations happen, people like me and people I know my age are going, oh, this is fucked. We need to blame someone. Immigrants, right? We need to blame rapid changes of culture. When ultimately, if the only people talking about that are far right wingers, they're going to get the support. And so you need the Democrats to have an actual left wing position on economics or they're finished forever. And I think that's like, who is it? AOC and Bernie are going to try and step into that.
All right, so let's go to global politics that's going on at the moment. So the Canadians voted in left-wing government.
It's crazy. I can't believe it.
They hated what's his name?
Justin Trudeau.
They hated Trudeau. I would go on stage and mention Trudeau and boo, not happy, eh?
Fuck Trudeau.
Fuck Trudeau and his fucking dumb head.
And yesterday, Pierre Poilievre,
and then all it took was him going away and putting in a new leader who's never sat in Parliament, and then this guy now wins.
No, I think it's not even Mark Carney, who has never been a politician. He was the central banker for the Royal Bank of England or whatever, and a central bank planner. Ultimately, Canada voted against. It was a protest vote against Donald Trump. Donald Trump is so toxic around the world that my country, or your country, our country of Australia, will vote for Anthony Albanese, who's not particularly popular. But anyone who's seen as the Conservative candidate,
Dutton's not popular either.
Well, unfortunately, Dutton looks like an egg at a time where eggs are unaffordable. So he reminds people of the grocery bills.
Okay, so put up the two blokes. So we're about to have an election this week.
I got to go to the embassy. Do you want to go with me?
I don't have to vote anymore. I haven't done it for so long because I'm not a resident. Non-residents don't have to vote. You don't have to vote.
It's not about have to, want to.
All right, I'll go.
Pauline Hanson, number one.
All right, I'll go vote with you.
We should go together. I think we'll get a free sausage down there.
You reckon?
Surely the Australian embassy.
Do I just show me passport? Go in there. I haven't voted in an Australian election in 20 years.
Yeah. Well, let me show you who Peter Dutton is.
Okay,
can we get this up for the public?
Get up, Peter Dutton. Here he is. He's one of those guys that's not just bald. He hasn't even got the side bits. The side bits are full out, and he just has like a rectangle at the back of his head.
I said this before to some people in the offices.
He couldn't even have a comb around for the sides.
The fact that he hasn't gone for the sides, like he's done the full shave.
Yeah.
If you're going to be in politics, you got to keep the hairy sides to look a little bit distinguished or like eccentric. Larry David like.
Professory.
Yeah, professory.
There he is. There's Dutton. There's Dutton and Albanese. Now, Albanese, what's he meant to be, Greek?
No, he's Italian.
Italian, Albanese, right? So he was the first Italian prime minister. Now, I only know from working on the 1% Club that sometimes there'll be a joke in that someone will say like, oh, that's like Albanese doing whatever, but I don't follow Australian politics enough. I know my dad likes Dutton. I know that Albanese's going to win by a mile. Yeah. That's what I believe.
Oh, he's going to. I think he absolutely shit it in. It's crazy. It's crazy. Peter Dutton. I tried to watch. Can I play you some of the?
Sure.
I got to play some of the Australian.
Okay,
debate.
now I want to say they just had the last debate on 7, and the lead-in for the debate was a show called the 1% Club, hosted by yours truly, and my show beat the fucking debate in the ratings. We were the lead-in. The 1%. There was a drop-off after our show.
Your show
was more popular than the election.
Your face is one of the last faces people see before they make their mind up on the future of this country.
Yeah.
Okay. But I want you to listen to this. Now, I know it's your network, and you're going to want to defend your network, and I've got no issues with Channel 7.
Wonderful people.
But my note for the network of Channel 7 was, stop trying to make the Australian election American. Listen to the background music of this debate.
Good evening. Welcome to the final showdown. Tonight, the candidates to be Australia's Prime Minister head to head. This is their moment.
Feels like you should be running through a field.
Your support. Our political editor, Mark Riley, will
zombies are chasing you.
Key topics, then some rapid fire hot takes.
It's like
get a gun.
The price of putting food on the table to keeping your lights on.
It sounds like the NFL.
How much money the
or like
government
the cricket
from your
lineup.
paycheck at the end of the working week. And the future of welcome to country ceremonies.
Does it ever stop? Does it go the whole time?
No, this is what was insane. I watched it with my American girlfriend. I said, let's watch Australian politics, right? They give them 1 minute each to talk. They played this song over their opening addresses each.
Right, I want to hear.
Let's listen to Peter Dutton address the Australian public. Americans, this is what we're all about in our country, right? This is what our debates are. Here's the opening statement.
You've won the coin toss and you have elected to speak first. Your opening statement, 1 minute.
Well, Mark, thank you very much, and Prime Minister, thank you for being here tonight. This election is all about who can best manage the Australian economy, and if we can manage the economy well, it means that we can bring inflation down. It means that we can help families with the cost of living crisis that this government's created.
Okay.
We live in the best country in the world,
okay.
but we do know
the problem
that
I have with this is...
What Seppo bullshit is that?
When I've been living overseas for all these years, I understand that it's a global economy. It's not just Australia. It's not just this government that's brought it. My father believes that, this bloody Labor's fucked the country.
Yeah.
It's the dollar moves at the same as Canada and the same as New Zealand, and again, it always moves the same. And I know there'll be people in the car right now going, you don't fucking know, you Seppo cunt. You've been living in America for so long. He's not one of us anymore.
Well, you aren't. You're not even voting in the election.
I'm going to vote in the election.
Who are you voting for?
It's your
private
vote. It's my private vote.
Okay, for Americans who don't know anything about Peter Dutton, I'll give you a quick, funny history for me. So we had this guy called Malcolm Turnbull.
I didn't mind Malcolm.
Okay, so Malcolm is like a technocrat, super smart, Oxford, Goldman Sachs banker.
He was already a billionaire and he didn't want to live in our equivalent of the White House. He said, I've got a nicer house.
He had a nicer house not that far away.
Yeah.
So when he would go to the Prime Minister's house, he'd look across the ocean and go, oh, God, fucking hell, this is a dump.
Yeah.
Let me get back over there.
The Prime Minister's house is a pearl, though. It's on Sydney Harbour. Yeah. It's really a wonderful piece of real estate. And it's an understated sort of country-looking home, isn't it?
And Malcolm was a soft conservative.
Yeah.
He could have been a Labor person.
He would do Trump impersonations.
He hates Donald Trump.
He didn't like Donald Trump and he was a conservative and he would do the whole, he'd do all that.
He goes on about it all the time.
Yeah.
Now, he was a little too soft and he was a bit too greeny for a lot of the other conservatives. So this guy, Peter Dutton, was part of the faction that pushed him out because they thought he was going to bankrupt the country because he was against coal, oil and gas.
No,
for climate
Turnbull was my kind of right-hand guy, right? But you're not for everyone.
And now this is the best bit. He'd been a minister sort of for immigration, and so he had this looming dark presence. He was just part of like stopping the boats, and he was not a friendly guy.
We're talking about Dutton.
This is Dutton. He was not a friendly guy.
Dutton has a very good.
He's an ex-cop.
Yeah, but he has a funeral director look.
Yeah,
mortician.
Dude, he looks like Voldemort if he was a banker.
Yeah.
You know, he's no warmth.
Yeah, no warmth.
It's a big problem. And Australia has had some prime ministers that are a bit of a larrick. You need to have a beer with him.
You look like if you cracked his head open, the egg would be boiled.
Okay, so after he pushes out Malcolm Turnbull, right? He actually didn't manage to push him out, but he ran to be the new leader. And they had to do like a campaign.
Okay, so what people might not know about Australian politics, and this happens a lot in England as well, your leader can just change overnight. You vote in the party, you don't vote in the individual.
Sure.
In America, you mostly vote in the individual, even though you're voting in the party. But the party can't just go, we don't want Donald Trump anymore, we're going to have a little election within our election and vote him out, and the new person's going to be the president, right? In Australia, you can do that, and you can do it in the UK.
And so this guy made a run to be the leader before he's managed now to take over the party. And he knew that he was seen as too much of like a tough guy. So he did this campaign with his wife on the front page. Jack, can you look this up so we can show everybody? The front page was him and his wife and a quote from his wife, which was, "He is not a monster." Which is just...
He is not a monster.
Like, if that's your slogan...
That's like an exact quote from the Elephant Man.
I'm not a monster.
I am not an animal.
It's like, as bad... Did you see it? Yeah, here it is. Look, pull this up.
Give me a look at the paper. Turn it to me for a little bit. Yeah. He is not a monster. And there she is. She's holding him.
Which is, I'm sure every girlfriend out there has had a moment where she's had to say that to her friends.
Ah!
My boyfriend, Tazy, your wife, I guarantee you has said to some British people, he's not a monster. He's not a bogan.
I've heard my wife say to people, he's actually very sweet. I was being interviewed by Spotlight, and my wife was just wandering around the house. Spotlight is like investigative journalism. They did a thing on me in Australia, and my wife came on and they go, what would people want to know about Jim Jefferies that they don't already know? And she goes, he's really kind and he's really sweet. And then the advert for the article went like this, and I will quote, "Meet the woman who tamed the beast." What the fuck? Yeah. This is meant to be a puff piece about how awesome I was. Meet the woman who's tamed the beast.
They made out that she was like a British explorer that found this wild animal to bring back.
Yeah.
I tamed this creature.
Yeah.
This vile commoner.
If you're going to gold dig, you don't do it with a fucking wild chimp, do you?
He's not a monster. What about that you should have done that for the name of the special.
He's not a monster?
He's not a monster.
I am not an animal?
Yeah, your wife's like, you wouldn't believe it. He jokes about it, but he's done no rapes on me. None. He doesn't even call me cunt. I know.
Yeah.
He's a wonderful... The expectations were so low. Which is what most of the time people say about you. You know, like when I introduced you to my my mother-in-law and father-in-law, they were like, he was the German. He was quite a calm guy. I thought he was going to drink a bottle of Jack Daniels and assault me.
And when in the real fact, Anton did that to me.
He did that to you. The only thing they did say about you is that he has very aggressive table manners, because you were very high when you ate with them at a Chicago steakhouse and you got lobster and you fucking ripped that tail out of the shell and you sucked it down. They were like, that man is passionate the way he eats.
No, I eat like, it's something. Okay, I found it, once I was doing, I was at the Edinburgh Festival, and there was like this thing where it was like a daytime show. And I always knew I ate quick, but I didn't know everyone knew. I thought it was my little secret, right? They were doing a thing where comedians were impersonating other comics. And so there's like 4 or 5 comics on the stage, and then they were just bringing up names. And they brought up Jim Jefferies, right? And 3 out of the 4 of them started shoveling food into their mouth.
Yeah, man, you're an uncouth eater.
Oh, yeah. No. I eat like I'm in prison.
These are the noises that come out of you. Like you fight breath. And I'm bad as well. I'm a real swine. But yours is, I think maybe
and my wife's the slowest eater in the world.
That's having siblings, like brothers.
My brother used to eat with his arm over the plate like that, like prison style, to protect his food. My father...
We're back to our childhood.
My father, when you stopped eating, my father would start picking food off your plate. This is how dinner went in my family every day, right? My parents would cook a meal, and it would be a meat and 3 veg, and there would often be homemade chips was one of the things. My parents cooked, we got cooked meals. And we'd get chips. And my mother was an overweight woman, and my father would say something like this, because I was 16 and I took a girl on a date out to a Chinese restaurant, and I ordered a prawn dish, right? Like, maybe walnut, honey prawns or whatever. Like, I'm putting it in American vernacular, right? Ordered a prawn dish. Now, my family always counted out the prawns. We've got a family here, there's 5 of us, there's 15 prawns. You're all going to get 2 each, and then mum and dad are going to get a couple more, and you know what I mean? Or you're going to get 3 each, it's 15, right? 3 prawns. Anyway, I went to have dinner with this girl. I'm 16, and then I saw each portion of food, and I put a knife through the middle of the portions, and I scraped my portion onto the plate, leaving the other portion there, because that was her bounty of food, and I had gotten mine. And then I ate all mine, and then she just nibbled at her food, and then the lady came and went, "Are you done with this?" And she went, "Yep," and she took the plates, and I went, "No, that's fucking prawns, man. Those were your prawns." Like and that was the moment.
Did that turn you off?
That
No,
was the
still...
moment I realised that women don't eat as much as men. At least the ones I want to date. Right? So, the women I want to date don't eat as much as men. But my mother had the same portion as my father. Right? My father, skinny man, eats like a horse, overactive thyroid. We should be so lucky. Anyway, so my mother would come. She'd have her chicken, and there'd be peas, and then there'd be the chips. Right, potato chip, your fries, right, big plank ones, right?
Yeah.
That my parents would cut up, deep fry them, and my mother would have a big pile of them, and my dad would have his portion like this, and Mum's would sit a bit high. She'd always take a few more, and she'd be eating them as she was cooking like this. And my dad would say some fucking side comment like, "Bloody lot of chips you got there, Carolyn." Like that. And my mother would throw a tantrum. This is one dinner a week. My portion is high. Yours are more spread. We have exactly the same amount of chips. Right? And I'd say,
geometric differences only.
Yeah. And then the chip count would happen. They'd start counting their fries to fucking see who had more fries. It wasn't a healthy environment.
Who was the intermediary of this? What, you and the kids would go around there to see?
My mother at one stage.
You and Scott?
So I'll tell you a banger about me, mate. So my mother liked animals. We were animal lovers. I'm an animal lover. We like animals, right? Always had pets. We always had mostly 2 dogs and 3 cats is sort of the number we always supported.
So that's 5 animals, so that's 1 each at the table.
Yeah, 5 animals, and we lived in a shoebox of a house, and we had 5 animals and 5 people, and it was a lot of animals for this thing. And we had these, but Dad fed them, and Dad trained them, and the dogs all loved Dad, like would sit next to his chair. If he was reading the paper, they'd sit next to him. When my dad goes for a shower, he's having a shit. There's one dog, Chloe, loved him so much that she would sit next to the door and press herself to be as close to Dad as possible. And then whenever Dad picked you up from your job at McDonald's or whatever, the dog was always sitting there in the center console just next to like going, "Isn't Gary great? Gary's a banger." Like this, right? But the dog was officially Mum's dog, right? She wanted a Scottish Terrier. The dog decides who the owner is. The dog decides. The dog hangs out.
The dog's trained to pick an alpha.
Yeah. So, but also the person who feeds him, he spends all the time with it. There's a big woman who sat in a lazy boy chair. It's not as fun. This other person took him on car trips and fucking took him for walks and fed him and taught him tricks. Right? He knew how to play dead, and he sat up and begged and stuff. He was a banger of a dog. She was a banger of a dog. Anyway, so my mother went, "You all hate me. Everyone in this house hates me. You're all bastards. Even the dog hates me," right? And it's meant to be my dog. And I was like this, "This dog bloody loves you, Mum. This dog can't get enough of you." I remember I was about 17. I was like, this dog, when you're out of the house, it's all the dog talks about. When's she coming back?
It mopes, it cries.
Yeah, when's she coming back? Ooh, like that, right? So Mum went, "Prove it." And she went out in the back garden, and she stood at one end of the pathway, and my father stood at the other one, and I had to hold the dog, and they had to both call it.
Why does your family do these really dark psychological,
I don't know,
university experiments?
I don't know why, right? And I'm there going, "Oh God, the dog's going to run to Dad," like this, right?
Yeah.
Right. So I put the dog down. And like Mum wasn't putting effort in because she wanted to be a martyr. She wanted the dog. She was going, "Come here, Chloe. Chloe. This is a woman who yelled all the time, and now she's whispering, right?" And then my dad's like, "Chloe," and he also does. He wants the dog to go over to Mum's to bang thing. And I put the dog down, and I'm definitely leading the dog. The dog has to climb over my leg. I'm fucking guarding it from going over to me. Anyway, there's no end to this story.
The thing about your mum is,
Yeah.
and this is so true, and this is there's certain people that are like this, which is you could just say, oh, the dog doesn't like me. It is what it is, or I'm going to work to get a different dog or play with a dog. Your mum seems like the kind of person, we all know them, which is, I know they don't like me, and I'm going to show you that they don't like me.
Oh, yes.
And it's going to make me ultimately very happy because I'll tell everyone that there's a conspiracy against me in this house.
Yes.
What is that mentally?
Yes.
What is that?
That you're all terrible.
What is
you're
that
all
conditionally?
The worst time to see my mother. The worst time to see my mother was after therapy. She had this one therapist that used to feed her, that used to just go, oh, those boys are terrible, Carol. The things that you've put up with. Her name was Sheila Medcalf. Actually, I'll tell you right now, Sheila Medcalf, who was a therapist on the northern beaches of Sydney, if you're still around, you fucking corrupt bitch. You fucking made my childhood terrible. Yeah. She'd be around.
It's like every boyfriend now that hears gaslighting from their girlfriend because that's
when mum came home from seeing Sheila Medcalf, you were in for a fucking ass kicking. If you heard the car drive up, you were fucking, oh, God. Where's she been? She been to the shops? She enjoys the shops. She's been to therapy. Sheila Medcalf. Everyone hide.
Mum's got some new ideas about how she's not respected. Yeah. Mum's coming in hot with some outside takes. She's had an advisor.
Although, in Sheila's defense, she only heard one half of the story, I'm sure.
How would you, if you had that, what would you say? You know, there's like weapons inspectors.
Yeah.
Go to countries.
Yeah.
And their job is to like oversee and report back.
Yeah.
Would have you supported, obviously you can't have this, we're not actually saying people should take kids away, but I wouldn't mind like 3 impartial people visiting each family as a kid and be like, no, your parents, it's a bad environment over here. We're not going to take them away, but we are just going to arm the kids.
My brother, who's a cop, right, he's been into situations where he had to go over to families' houses where the kids have to be taken away, and he's like this, fucking not that bad. I don't know what they're all complaining about. He's been envious of childhoods of kids that he's taken away from the home.
That's an interesting perspective to have. It's like, you pussy. Did you get your leg broken? Oh, you can walk out of here. Wow. Oh, boo. Fuck.
Anyway, so that's what's happening with the Australian election.
Yeah, look, I think it's going to be a massive... Any election where there's a Conservative Party, they'll lose just because in any way they're linked
because everyone's linked to Donald Trump. What they have to do is they have to denounce Donald Trump during the when they're running. Right?
Oh, that doesn't matter.
But that makes it tricky because then you still have to deal with the cunt. You still have to deal with Donald Trump when you become Prime Minister. You still have to negotiate with him. You still have to because you don't want tariffs. You don't want bullshit. And at the end of the day, America's our biggest ally and they have the biggest army in the world. And if the shit ever hits the fan, we want them on our side.
Another thing that's in politics, quickly, is that there's been a new bill with bipartisan support from a few senators.
Oh, I'd like to buy some partisan myself.
It's called... And I think this is quite funny. And see if you can pick up what they're targeting.
Okay.
It's called Preventing Elected Leaders from Owning Securities and Investments.
Right. Are they saying because of the tariffs thing? Because
No. Nothing to do with tariffs.
What?
It's the Preventing Elected Leaders from Owning Securities and Investments, which is Pelosi. So they're trying to institute a law now in America, finally, which makes complete sense to me, that if you're an elected... person to the Congress or the Senate, you can't trade stocks.
Yeah, but I agree with that completely.
You can't regulate things that you're also betting on, right?
Yeah, well Cheney and what's his name, the weapons people. What's it, Halliburton or whatever?
Yeah.
Well, not Halliburton. What's it called? What was the big one that he was involved in?
It's Halliburton.
Halliburton. Yeah. Right. And no, of course not. You shouldn't have an invested interest in things that you can fluctuate.
If any leader is pushing back on this right now, it is like, why? Like, what do you... Now, maybe you have to pay them more. We want good people to go into government.
Can you keep the stocks you got?
No.
Or once you have
to divest.
Once you go into government, you have to sell up.
You have to sell up.
Can your wife or husband have them?
No. I don't think so, because that's what Nancy Pelosi does. Her husband does a lot of the trading. Kids, no. But I mean, that's the thing. You'd have lots of proxies. You can always find a way around it where you get your financial advisor to then pass on the information to someone who might be holding the money for you in trust. But Nancy Pelosi, there's an app called the Trade Tracker. Have you been following this?
I haven't even been following the stock market.
Yeah. So a lot of my mates follow the Pelosi Trade Tracker, it's very clear. You know this, Jack? It's so good. Her net worth, supposedly, according to the Trade Tracker, is about $254 million. Now, she's been a public servant for most of her life. Right? There's a lot of them that are worth hundreds of millions of dollars, and their salaries are a couple $100,000. So very clearly they trade on information that the rest of the public don't have, and then they make millions of dollars from it, which is blatant corruption. Right? However, now they're going to shut that down at a time where, quite frankly, I say let them keep going, because I feel like I finally have an in.
Oh, so you just follow what she does.
You can see what she's been trading. I'll give you some of her most recent trades. Now they're shutting it down just when I felt like I had an advantage over people. Huh? Who's shutting it down? Well, the Congress is going to pass a law, not the Trade Tracker, but they're going to shut down her ability to trade. And what I'm saying is, where was that 10 years ago? We've finally got an in with this app. So do you want to know what she's been trading of late, Jim?
Right.
Okay. She purchased some Amazon stock January 17.
I got a bit of that.
She purchased 500,000 worth. She purchased more Google. She did Nvidia.
Well, I've got none of that. None of that.
250,000 of Nvidia. Then she also did Visa, Apple, more Nvidia.
I got some Apple.
More Nvidia. She keeps loading up on the Nvidia.
What's Nvidia? Is that AI?
Nvidia is the chips. They make the chips. I think they're a Taiwanese company that's now moving back to America. But then she sold it, and then she rebought it.
I like chips.
Microsoft. It's a lot. Tesla.
She's selling Tesla or buying Tesla?
She sold Tesla.
Yeah, you got to get rid of Tesla.
That was last year.
Tesla's not going well.
Not going well?
No.
Well, the thing about Tesla is...
But it'll come back.
So what? Okay, let me ask you this, because I was reading an article about this the other day. Why do you think the Tesla stock price is... Because, they just make cars, right?
Yeah.
And
they also make solar panels.
But they're
going to make robots.
They don't sell as many
space.
cars as other companies, but they're more valued.
Yeah.
Do you know why this is?
No, I don't.
It's for the mapping. What? So it's the data. That's why Tesla is worth all that money, is because your Tesla that's driving around is constantly getting information on the road routes, which helps their automated driving program, which they end up being able to on-sell. That's why they're ahead of, like Volkswagen, for instance, is that all that data from you constantly driving with the speed, where you're going, what the traffic's like, is building a database for them for the future. Not only that, they also pay attention to what you're listening to. Like, they know what you do when you're in the car, what shops you attend, the drive-thrus, and they can sell that to advertisers.
They wouldn't know if you were masturbating with the auto drive, though, would they?
I think they might. They might be blackmailing you with that. Are you saying there might be some footage of you at a Chick-fil-A car park, pleasuring yourself while eating a 12-pack?
No, I'm fucking auto drive. I wouldn't be stationary. That's how the paps get you. I masturbate on the go.
Yeah, that's Justin Bieber's problem. He's got to be doing it on the run.
What happened to Biebs?
Well, he just keeps posting video. He's gone a bit fucking insane. Haven't you seen this?
No.
And he's been posting a lot of videos of the paparazzi following me around, and there's like 10 of them hanging out at the front of his house. Now, have you ever had a paparazzo in your life? You've done a TMZ.
I'll tell you my Justin Bieber story.
Please.
Okay, you've already heard it.
But here's my advice to Justin Bieber quickly. Just move to Colorado, dude. If you're mentally unwell in Hollywood,
we'll move back to Canada.
Yeah, it's a fucking shit place to be. Go. Get out.
Okay, so I was in a movie with David Hasselhoff called Killing. It was with Ken Jeong, Rhys Darby, me. I did an American accent. I've never been able to watch it. It's meant to be a very bad film. Anyway, so David Hasselhoff's playing himself, and in the movie, at one stage, he's sitting in the Knight Rider car, which is like, turn left, Michael, turn right, Michael, straight ahead, Michael. Oh, Michael. You know what I mean? And then they pan out and we find out that the voice is Justin Bieber. Justin Bieber at this stage is about 16 years old, 17 years old. He's very young, right?
It's a sweep across hair, Jay.
Yeah, so we're filming the thing. We're filming the thing. There's drones over top. There's helicopters over the top. And everyone, this is the height of Bieber mania, right? And so the paparazzi are all trying to figure out what's going on with Justin Bieber. Why is Justin Bieber in this movie? What's he doing? All the believers are losing their shit. We had a barricade to stop them coming in. So cut to my now friend, Michael Yo, who is a reporter, who's a stand-up comic now, but he was a reporter for like Entertainment Tonight or Access Hollywood or one of those type of things, right? And they go around and they interview Ken Jeong And they go, hey, Ken, this new movie, can you tell us? Well, we saw Justin Bieber's in the movie. What's all that about? And Ken John goes, I can't tell you. I can't tell you, but see the film. And then Rhys Darby. And we saw, he goes up to Rhys Darby and he goes, we saw Justin Bieber in the movie. What's all that about? And Rhys Darby goes, I wasn't in that scene. I don't know. I can't really tell you.
That's a mystery.
It's a mystery. Right? And then they speak to Hasselhoff, and he goes, hey, it's the magic of movie making. I can't tell you what's going on. The magic of movie making. Then they interview Jim Jefferies, and I go, he's the voice of the Knight Rider car.
It's a very small cameo. If you're hoping to see any of Justin, he's hardly in it.
Yeah, literally. And I, because no one had told me this is a big secret fucking thing. And I haven't been in a lot of movies, so I'm better now, right? So the next day I show up on set. David Hasselhoff is standing in front of my trailer door. I can't get in. The Hoff's there, right? He's waiting for me. He's furious, right?
What, he's seen that you've let the...
Yeah. He's found out.
Was he a producer of the film or something?
Yeah, and he hasn't been in the movie for years, so he's like really excited about this, and he just goes, you ruined it. And I went, what have I done, David? And he's just like this. He goes, how do you get information out? Telegram, telephone, or Jim Jefferies? And I'm like, I reckon he'd been thinking about that line in the car on the way over. Telegram.
He's used that one a few times.
Telegram, telephone, Jim Jefferies. And I got a bit like, get out of my fucking way, Hoff. Like, I got a bit fucking, go fuck yourself, Hoff.
How did Justin Bieber?
I haven't spoken.
Did he do a good turn?
I've never seen the movie, but
what's it called?
No, it doesn't matter. but the Hoff and me, we never reconnected.
The Hoff, dude.
The Hoff.
Did you find yourself on the film with the Hoff? You must have known.
When I met,
this isn't going to be a great one.
When I met David Hasselhoff, I walked onto set, and David Hasselhoff was in a karate gi doing push-ups next to the Knight Rider car. And I'm like, this is a fucking meet cute, right? And then he goes, hey, Jim Jefferies, right? Comedian. Yeah, no, they've told me all about you. He goes, hey, you're from Australia? I bought some property in Barley, and they're going to build resorts on it. It's a great investment. He tried to get me into a property deal.
Oh, that's
first paragraph of talk.
That's one thing that this election should be about, is ending the foreign ownership of property. Fucking Hoff. Get the Hoff out.
I don't think the Hoff has made good investments. I'm
You
not sure.
think so?
I don't know about the Hoff. I feel like the Hoff has to work. I'm not. I can't. Don't quote me. I don't know. He was perfectly nice apart from that one incident.
We need to finish up. I got a couple of.
He's probably. Look, if David Hoff, he's probably a good deal.
You're not going to be fucking friends.
We had a moment.
You'd be right.
We had a moment.
I'm going to ask you. I'm going to get you to guess what the story's about.
Okay, we got to wrap this up.
I want you to end.
It's been a good podcast, hasn't it?
I want you to end with this, mate. This was the number
All right,
one.
mate.
This is the number one story in Australia yesterday on mynews.com.au. Most clicked. I always like most clicked.
Okay.
Forgotten 80s porn trend makes big comeback.
Ooh.
Now, I just wanted to know what you think that was, because you were probably watching porn in the 80s. I wasn't.
Okay. I've watched porn from the 80s.
Yeah.
That wasn't my peak. My peak porn watch was the early 2000s. I can name those girls, like rattle them off, really think. But I was.
What's a trend from the 80s?
I was reading magazines in the Bush. Is it Bush?
It's a good guess, but it's not Bush. Have another guess.
Is it pizza delivery guys?
It is not pizza delivery or pool. It's not about the plot.
Because that was when pizza delivery was invented. Before that, we had to go out to get our food. That was the first food that we could get delivered, and it happened in the 80s.
Okay, you know what it is?
What?
And they're saying it's going to harm women in the future. It's tan line pornography.
Oh, you like the bikini tan lines?
Yes, and so it says here that
one
of the top growing searches
I
on
like a tan line.
Why?
I don't know why.
What
Because
is-
it's like, oh, you wore a small bikini, didn't you? Oh, someone wears a G-string. Even though they're naked, now I'm picturing them with clothes on. Yeah, I like a tan line.
You know what I think it is about tan line porn? I think it's like you feel like you're on vacation with them, like they've been off sunbaking and then you've gone back into the hotel room.
No,
It's like-
I always like when you're like, that hardly covered anything. How can you go out like that, you grub?
But now they're saying tan line porn is the fastest growing new category in pornography.
Which is all right. Not in Australia. No ozone layer.
Well, that's why they're saying that's what the article says, which is we are worried with our rate of skin cancer that young women are now risking getting themselves cancer to please men, as there is a growing trend of young men going, like, I want to fuck you when you've got tan lines.
Yeah. Well, look, I've shagged some Canadian women in my day, and their tan lines are just from the vest. they're just the bare arms from the puffer vest.
It's the snow goggles.
Snow goggles
from windburn.
Yeah, look. When I see a woman dressed like Marty McFly, I fucking go. I'm ready to go.
How many men do you think are in the Reddit group called Tan Line Baddies?
Thousands.
650,000 active members.
Yeah.
And where people are also, now this is where it gets a bit creepy.
Yeah.
It's no longer just a porn.
Yeah.
People are taking resort pics of people wandering around with sunburn and men being like, oh, that's going to look so good when you get
Oh,
that
no, I don't like
bikini off."
sunburn. I don't like sunburn.
Well, that's what the tan line comes from.
No,
That's
you just tan. Women who can tan, not people who burn. I don't want to see it on an English chick.
That's what I'm saying.
I like it on a Brazilian girl, like a Brazilian who's been wearing, because South American women with tan lines. That's something.
Oh, so you're not saying like a woman from Newcastle who's in Mallorca?
No, I don't want to live a Puglian. I don't want to live a Puglian.
All right, what other porn line trends do you think are making a comeback?
Is there more?
Well, they've got a couple others, but I was more interested not from what this was saying. I just wanted to know from you, as a man who once did a show about pornography.
Yes.
Back in the day.
I was once in one, but don't mention that.
You were once in one. Yeah.
Presented. I presented one.
You presented a porn.
I presented one.
What else?
I'm a movie star. I'm in movies now.
What else do you think is...
I'm a game show host on network TV.
It is crazy.
Thank you very much.
Your IMDb is...
Check out The Snake.
You were in a British pornography, a movie with David Hasselhoff. Then you host a show called The 1% Club.
Yeah. Yeah. At the end of my career, they'll say, he had to go. You can say what you want about him, but he said yes to most projects.
Yeah, they used to say no is the most powerful word in Hollywood. And Jim Jefferies wrote a book called Yes.
My voice message is just, I'll do it.
You really? Me? Serious? It's really me serious.
No,
the Jim Jefferies autobiography.
I am a big fan of saying yes. I'm a big fan of saying yes and seeing what will happen. The old, like, might be good, might be bad, might be a bad career move, might be a good career move. I'm just fucking having a go, man. And I'm at the stage in my life now where I can't say no. I'm too old to be saying no to anything. But when I was younger, I was like, sure. Do you want to present a game show porno? Yeah, go on.
Would you do it again?
No, I wouldn't.
What about with the same cast?
It was before the internet.
What about for a sequel?
It was before YouTube and Pornhub, mate.
Did you sign a contract and you didn't know that it's a 3-picture deal? And because of your fame, they need you back there. Just so we're clear, your cock wasn't out in this.
No, I have not had sex on film. Well, that I haven't recorded.
In your Tesla?
Yes.
No,
yeah, I'm on auto.
Elon Musk has that data, and that's why.
Yeah, every now and again the screen goes like this, like, you haven't touched the steering wheel, slap your cock on the wheel.
All right, well, I think that's what's happening at this moment. Was there anything else that you wanted? No cunt of the week.
I tell you what, Amos, this is one of my favourite podcasts of the week, doing it with you. And then I do ones with other people, which I enjoy as well. But this one's right
What
up
else
there.
do you do?
I just did Harlan Williams one.
Oh, yeah?
I just did one with Al Jackson this week. I'm doing a lot more because I've got a few things to press at the moment. But come and see me in Vegas this weekend.
Vegas.
Come and see me, man. I'm really looking forward to it. And me and the wife are going to have fun. We're both going out kid-free, child-free. So we're going to be out and about.
Nice staycation, huh?
Yeah.
Poor Forrest.
Yeah.
He's going to have to do extra time while you're in there in the suite. I know what's going to be going on there, but not sure. I'm not sure why that's the end
Why
of
did
the
you
pod.
make me and my wife sound like some sleazy swingers?
Her new tan lines.
Oh yeah. Well, look, you get a tan line on an Indian woman.
It's a fucking powerful.
Bloody, you got to leave them out there for a while. I had to lock all the doors to the house. Let her just walk around. And she wears jumpers. All the tan line I've got is from the neck up.
If you also have made it this far, Jim's special recording in Chicago. Go and see that. He's in Vegas. I am going to be all over the place, but you can see me in Zanies, in Nashville, Chicago. I'm going to come into Tacoma, Spokane.
Great clubs.
I'm looking forward to it, dude. I you know what? I had a 2-week break from the road. I thought I was like... I was truly mentally ill for a while there. I was like,
I once retired on a podcast because I was so mentally ill from the road.
and I'm like good to go again.
Yeah. You just need a break every now and again. If you've been too many towns, too many airplanes will fucking fry you, man.
I also need to get back on the road because I need to shave, and my girlfriend doesn't let me shave in the house anymore.
It's time to Hitler up.
I broke an agreement because I don't clean up my beard hairs. She said to me that she's like, I'm finding little hairs of yours everywhere. I'm like, that's kind of racist. I'm Mediterranean.
Yeah.
Maybe
you shaved your legs, love. Oh no.
Like that's what you get for you getting a greasy Med.
Yeah. He's like,
don't fucking attack me.
Go date a blonde guy. Off you go.
Fucking hairless Nordic Nazis.
You bloody German. She wants some fucking Aryan cunt in the house.
That's what I thought.
Like, did you know that your group were Nazis? You've told her, right? You've told her.
The Croats.
Croats were Nazis. You've told her.
Yeah, she still doesn't.
Still no respect.
They still won't have us.
Still no respect.
The things we did for them.
Like you weren't the Italians, but you were right up there.
Right, the Italians. Goodbye, everybody.
Good night, Australia.